Hey, this is Mad Movie Mark with the Mad Movie Mark movie review. Thank you for joining me as I review the 1983 drama comedy The Local Hero.
Get out before I punch you.
Hey, whoa, there's no reason to get upset here. We're going to have a great movie review. I'm reviewing every movie that has 100% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm giving them all a score of 1 to 10. After I watch them and score them all, I will rank them from worst to best. I started the 1920 silent movie era, and now I'm at 1983 with The Local Hero. This movie has a 100% fresh rating from the critics and an 87% fresh rating from the audience. It stars Burt Lancaster as Felix Harper, Peter Reigert as Mac, I probably butchered that name, Peter Capaldi as Olson, and Ginny Seagrove as Marina. Now, this is the fourth movie that I have reviewed starring Burt Lancaster. The other three were The Killers, The Swimmer, and Atlantic City. This is the last movie that he will be in for movies that have 100% fresh rating. I am very sad by that because I have grown to love Burt Lancaster as an actor. He's probably becoming one of my favorite actors of all time. He is just that good in everything he's in. And he instantly makes every movie he is in much better than it probably would have been. So this is kind of like I said, a drama comedy, but it's also it has a lot of fantasy elements to it as well. It is about a company called Knox Oil in Houston, Texas. Now, Knox Oil, one of the sort of the big wig at Knox Oil is Felix Harper. But early on, we see that he's really not too much into the oil side of his job. When we're introduced to him, we catch him sleeping during a meeting.
Mr. Harper. Mr. Harper, sir. The main business today, gentlemen, is the report on the progress of our acquisition of Scotland.
And he is more interested in astrological things. He is very interested in comets, in Virgo constellations. That is his passion in life, is astrology.
This is Virgo. Find the Great Bear, the Big Dipper, and you can't go wrong. Get to know it. I'm expecting something special from there. Keep your eyes skinned. I want reports.
Reports, sir?
Anything unusual in Virgo. It might be a new star, or even a shooting star. I want to know about it. I want reports.
Now, him and his company are trying to buy a little town in Scotland so that they can build an oil refinery there. So they decide to send McIntyre to negotiate purchasing this town because he has a Scottish last name, even though in the movie he says that he is actually not Scottish. Now, he has some reservations about going to do this. He says he'd rather conduct business like over the phone. He doesn't like conducting business in person. But they send him off on his way anyway. When he gets there, he teams up with a person named Olson, who is supposed to help him in this negotiations. But Olson is somewhat distracted by this female deep sea diver he meets in this town named Marina, who he instantly takes a liking to, instantly kind of falls in love with her, and basically spends the rest of the movie pursuing her romantically. Now, McIntyre, when he first comes into town, he meets this guy at the end. He is the innkeeper, and him and Olson have some breakfast, and he says, "Hey, I'm here to meet this guy named Gordon. Where can I meet Gordon? I need to conduct some business with him." And the innkeeper says, "Oh, I know for a fact he's going to be at his office in 15 minutes. So they go over to his office, and wouldn't you know, it is the same person as the innkeeper. Apparently, this is one of those small towns where the people in the town all wear different hats. They all have different job titles. They all have different responsibilities. Just to keep this town running because there's so few people in it." Now, McIntyre, he kind of gives the rundown that he wants to buy this town and he wants to use it for an oil rig that they're building. Now, Gordon kind of seems like the town is not going to want to sell, especially the church the preacher at the church is not going to want to sell the land that it's on. He will do his best to try to negotiate the sell, but it's probably not in the cards.
Well, you're talking about 15, maybe 20 properties. You're talking about families, businesses, farms. You're talking about a lot of money. I don't think we have to go into figures right now. I have a breakdown of the properties. I think it's a matter of bringing the community together and making a collective deal, if you like. Why don't you get to know the place? Take a day or so. I'll take things as far as I can, and I'll let you know.
However, behind the scenes, the Gordon goes to talk to the town. They are very excited about selling. They're just kind of keeping this under wraps because they think that if they don't want to sell, if they come off as not wanting to sell, that they can negotiate a higher price. So, but they are very ecstatic about selling. They live very hard lives. They're going to get a lot of money from this, and they are ready to do it. Now, as McIntyre is going about the town, he realizes that these people who live in this town are really nice. They're really good people, and he is feeling really bad about buying their town and putting oil rig on it.
Can I help you, gentlemen?
Yes, I'd like to use the telephone. Is there one in the hotel?
There's a phone box just across the road at the jetty.
You'll need some change.
You can talk to anywhere in the world from there.
Could you change this for me, please? 10's the lot.
Well, no, I don't think we'll manage that.
You got any tens, lads? The gentleman here would like to make a very important long-distance phone call. Intercontinental. Hey, come on, give me your tens. Sandy, any tens?
So he starts to have second thoughts about this. Now, as the movie goes on, there's a couple conversations at a phone booth that Mac has with Felix Harper. One of them is probably my favorite scene in the entire movie, where there's like this comet going across the sky, or there's some kind of thing happening in the sky where it's turning all types of colors, and it's very beautiful, and he's just awestruck by what's going on. He's on the phone and he's trying to describe what's going on in the sky to Felix, and Felix understands what's going on because he's seen this type of thing before, and it's just an incredible scene of him being in awe and wonderment of this town that he's never seen this type of thing before.
Happy here, McIntyre?
I'm watching the sky, sir. It's doing some amazing things. It's got everything. Reds, greens, kind of shimmering, and it's got a noise too, like a far-off thunder, only it's softer. I wish you could see it. I wish I could describe it to you just like I'm seeing it.
Be more specific, McIntyre. You're my eyes and ears there.
He's from like a big city where it's probably polluted with lights and you can't even see the stars. I lived in a city like that before where there's light pollution and you don't see anything. So now he's kind of out there in it, and he sees how great the sky is and how great the astrology is and how great all of this stuff is, and he's just awestruck by it. Now, the town ends up agreeing to a price that they're going to pay to sell the town. McIntyre pretty much says, I don't care, just pick any price you want, it's fine. They agree on how much they're each going to get. They're all happy with it. But then Gordon realizes that there is a person who lives on the beach who also has a last name Knox, which is the name of the company, who owns the entire stretch of beach. It was given to him, passed down from generation to generation. He has this little shack on the beach that he lives in, that he's perfectly happy in. He works there. He has a purpose. He has a sense of purpose in his life because he is able to live off the land and, do what he needs to do. So they go and they try to discuss a price with him, and he's just not selling.
McIntyre represents some people who think they have a use for the beach, Ben. They want to pay you for using it.
Money?
A lot of money. £100,000.
You see, the thing is, I'm still working the place myself. It's my living. It supports me.
Because he says, you can give me all the money in the world, but that doesn't mean I'm going to have a purpose in life. That doesn't mean I'm going to be able to work and I'm going to be able to feel like I'm accomplishing something. And that's more important to me than money. I need to feel like I'm doing something with my life. Eventually, Felix Harper makes an unexpected visit, and he says, well, let me talk to this guy. Let me see what he says. So he ends up talking to the guy. He realizes that him and this guy have astrology in common. This guy has like a really nice telescope, and they just share a love for the sky and a love for meteor showers, a love for comets, a love for the planets, a love for all of that stuff. And Felix decides that he's no longer going to put an oil rig here. He's going to put it offshore. And instead, he's going to put some sort of like astrology thing on this island.
How did it go, sir?
Oh, fine. This place has a lot to offer. But I think the refinery site was a mistake. Ben's been filling me in. Ben has 8 unplotted objects in this very sky right above us. Think of that. We're doing a scan tonight.
The acquisition is at a pretty advanced stage, sir.
Oh, I want this place, McIntyre. Make no mistake about that. But tell Crab to start rethinking the refinery site when you see it tomorrow.
Where, you know, it can probably benefit the town, but it'll benefit this guy as well. And I mean, it's a happy ending at the end. The town doesn't necessarily get what they want, but it's still, I would still say it's a pretty happy ending all around. That's the summary of the entire movie. So what did I think of this movie? I thought this movie was really good. I didn't do any research into what this movie was about. I didn't even read like a one sentence summary of what this movie is about. So I went into it completely not knowing anything. I didn't even know it was a comedy. And I found it to be incredibly funny. There's a lot of really great scenes. Probably my favorite funny scene in the movie is where the town is meeting at the church to discuss how much they want to sell the town for. And they see Mac and Olson coming up to talk to the preacher to see if the preacher's willing to sell. So they send him out of the church to talk to them. And then they all start running out of the church while everyone's back is turned. Only Olson sees them and he doesn't know what's going on, but he doesn't say anything. It's an extremely funny scene.
Could sew this whole deal up in one afternoon over the wires. That's the kind of person I am. I need electricity. Don't know about those jets.
The movie is very hilarious. The acting is really good. This is one movie where I always try to guess what's going to happen in a movie before it happens. I'm really bad at trying to guess the next scene and guess what's going to be next. And in this movie, I couldn't guess anything. I really thought the town was going to be upset that they were being sold, that they were going to put up some kind of fight, and there was going to be some kind of conflict between Mac and the town. I think going to this type of movie, that's what you automatically assume. And it would have been probably lazy writing if that had been what it was, because it would just be so easy to guess. But I really love the way they went, in that the town really wants to sell, but they're trying to put on this front that they don't, because they want to get more money out of Mac and Olson. There's also really no antagonist in this movie. There's no bad guy in this movie. Any conflict that's in this movie is conflict with self, or that's pretty much it. There's no bad guy in this movie. Everyone has their own motives. Everyone is really a good person at the end of the day. They all have something they care about. There's something that they're passionate about, and it's really nice, a refreshing type of movie to see, this kind of movie where you don't need a villain. Like, there's no villain, and you really didn't need it because of how great the writing is. Like I said, the acting is really good. The script is fantastic. Burt Lancaster is amazing as always. Like I said, I'm really sad to see that there's not going to be any more Burt Lancaster movies coming up for this list. But all in all, I mean, I was pleasantly surprised by this movie. It's normally not the kind of movie that I would watch. Like, I'm into fantasy. I like The Princess Bride and stuff like that, but this is not a type of movie that I would seek out. I mean, besides the fact Burt Lancaster is in it, that may be one reason why I would go out of my way to try to find this type of movie. But I really normally like the dramas with all kinds of friction and all kinds of issues and problems going on. But this was a refreshing movie. This was a a really just fun, wholesome, nice to watch movie. And I'm pretty close with the audience here. I give it a 9 out of 10. Thank you. I hope you join me for my next review, which is going to be Broadway Danny Rose. Thank you. I hope you have a great day. It's not stopping for some reason.